Look at your phone. You probably have hundreds of contacts, maybe thousands of followers. But how many of them would you call at 3 a.m. if something went terribly wrong? The answer is almost certainly under 15. And that number isn't random. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying primate brains, and he found something remarkable. Across every primate species, from small lemurs to massive gorillas, there's a direct mathematical relationship between the size of an animal's neocortex, the outer layer of the brain responsible for complex thought, and the size of the social group it can maintain. Bigger neocortex, bigger group. Smaller neocortex, smaller group. The pattern holds almost perfectly across dozens of primate species. Dunbar's insight was simple but profound. Keeping track of relationships is cognitively expensive. You need to remember not just who someone is, but their personality, their history with you, their relationships with everyone else in the group, who they trust, who they fought with, who owes who a favor. This is an enormous amount of social bookkeeping, and your brain has a hard limit on how much of it you can process. So, Dunbar did something clever. He took the mathematical relationship between neocortex size and group size in other primates and applied it to humans. Using our neocortex ratio, the formula predicted a very specific number for the maximum size of a stable human social group. That number was 150, not a round number chosen for convenience. A number derived directly from the architecture of your brain. And once Dunbar started looking for this number in human societies, he found it everywhere. Hunter-gatherer tribes throughout history averaged around 150 people per clan. Neolithic farming villages in archaeological records cluster around the same size. The basic fighting unit in ancient Roman armies, the century, was unsurprisingly roughly 130 men. Modern military companies across different countries and eras hover consistently around 150 soldiers. Hutterite religious communities in North America have an explicit, deliberate rule. When a community grows beyond 150 people, they split it into two new communities because they've observed that beyond this size, social cohesion breaks down. Even in the corporate world, this number appears. The company Gore-Tex, famous for its innovative management structure, discovered independently through trial and error that when a factory floor grew beyond around 150 employees, productivity and cooperation started to suffer. Their solution was to cap facility sizes and build new ones instead of expanding existing ones past that threshold. None of these organizations were coordinating with each other. They arrived at roughly the same number through completely independent trial and error across different centuries and different continents because they were all running into the same biological ceiling. But Dunbar's number isn't just one flat limit. It's actually a series of nested circles, each with a different level of intimacy and a different cognitive cost. At the very center is your support clique, roughly 5 people. These are the ones you'd call in a genuine crisis, the ones who know your deepest secrets, the relationships that require the most emotional investment and trust to maintain. The next layer out is your sympathy group, about 15 people, close friends, people whose deaths would devastate you. People you'd drop everything for if they needed help. Beyond that is a layer of about 50 people Dunbar calls your affinity group. Good friends, people you'd invite to a significant party, people you actively maintain a relationship with even if it's not deeply intimate. Then comes the full 150, your meaningful social network. People whose personal life details you know, people you'd feel comfortable approaching without an appointment if you happen to run into them. Beyond 150, the numbers keep expanding, but the relationship quality drops sharply. Around 500 is roughly the number of acquaintances you can recognize and put a name to. Around 1,500 is your outer limit for recognizing faces at all, even without remembering names or details. Each ring outward requires exponentially less emotional investment per person, but supports exponentially more total relationships. It's a trade-off your brain is constantly managing, whether you realize it or not. So why does this limit exist at all? Why can't the brain just scale up indefinitely? The answer lies in something researchers call the cognitive cost of relationship tracking. For every additional person you add to your social circle, you don't just need to remember one new relationship. You need to track how that person relates to everyone else in your network too. Adding one person to a group of 10 adds 10 new potential relationships to track. Adding one person to a group of 150 adds 150 new potential.